Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from a throwaway account and it says, "Am I the asshole here for terrorizing my brother, making him live in his own filth? My brothers are all pigs. We had a very traditional house where girls cleaned and washed dishes from the time we were old enough to walk and stand on chairs. My brothers never did anything, and as adults cannot even turn a washer on. I very much resenting how I felt like I had to raise my own father, and how holidays and weekends were always spent with my brothers and dads laying around and us cleaning. Even Christmas, they got to play with their toys and we went in the kitchen. I do not care about excuses like, I was never taught. We were all adults now and they can YouTube and Google whatever they do not know. I learned how to patch walls, change tires, change oil, etc. All the gendered stuff I was never taught, so I do not see why he can't as well. My brother got put out by his girlfriend after they just had their first kid because he does not help with anything. Since staying with me, I've forced him to do stuff. When he first moved in, my house went from my tidy, clean utopia to a disgusting mess. He would spit sunflower seeds on the floor, hide his food and dirty dishes around the house, spit chewed gum behind the coffee machine, feet from the trash can, hide snack food everywhere, smoke on the toilet, and put cigs out on my floor, which is a slap in the face as I asked him to not even smoke inside because I do not smoke. Leave his dirty clothes everywhere, even on the living room floor, etc. Even when he ordered food for himself, he would eat at the table, then leave it for me to put away for him. Anytime he took anything out of the fridge, he would leave it on the table and would often leave the fridge open. I'm not joking. I found maggots 3 times from his mess. I lost it and told him to change his behavior or totally get out. Well, he started doing stuff, but as badly as he could. He would put bowls in the dishwasher so they would be filled with nasty water. Mop with the same water for days on end, leaving it smelling of rot. Do his laundry by putting it in the washer and leaving it for me to finish. Put food away by throwing it all over the fridge, spilling food everywhere. Best was when he put the syrup away upside down on the top shelf with no lid and coated my entire fridge in syrup that took hours to clean, etc. Then he would say, "I'm trying, you are just being a bitch." I lost my temper. I know I couldn't leave him on the street, so I divided the house. The cabinet doors all have locks on from the previous owners, so I got him some dishes from Goodwill and forbade him from using any of my dishes, so he's eating off his filthy dishes. I made it very clear that anything left on the floors, clothing, etc. gets a 1-day grace period, then it will be thrown away. Same with a few dishes he has, he would leave them in the sink until they started to grow mold. I started locking my bathroom door and he has to use the one in the basement, which I refuse to clean. If his clothes are in the washer for more than 8 hours and I need to use it, I dump them wet on his bed. Any trash he leaves laying around goes on his bed. If he orders food and gets up and leaves his leftovers, I leave them to rot, and they get thrown away. Though twice the idiot has left food out overnight and came out and started angry eating it whilst glaring at me. Both times the idiot got food sickness. He destroyed my fridge again, putting juice upside down with the lid barely on once again, destroying my food. So I mopped it up with towels and dumped the towels and all my ruined food on his bed, then put a lock on the fridge. He hates me and says I'm terrorizing him. I say I was forced to mother him as a child, but was never given the parental control to actually teach him how life works. And since my brothers used my childhood to treat me like a maid, I will no longer parent them. My view is, some lessons have to be learned painfully. I will not gentle parent a grown man who cannot close a fridge door. Am I the arsehole here? And the top comment says on this one, which is the proper question, right? Get him out. Why is he even living with you? To which a commenter replies saying, your brother's real problem is that he is not sufficiently terrorized. Kick him out on the street. With any luck, that will cause him some real terror. If it doesn't, oh well, at least he's out of your house. And keep him out. Creepy research says putting things upside down and open in the fridge is intentional. Toddlers learn not to do that. Spitting anything on the floor is intentionally being a slob. I could dissect everything you listed, but I think you can see where I'm going from here. He's doing things to make a mess for you, and you're allowing it. You're spending a lot of time proving a point that will never stick with him. Kick him out. Let him live with your other brothers or your parents, if they're around, who never taught him basic manners, hygiene, or much of anything. Why do you need to keep being his parent when he clearly doesn't appreciate or respect you? I gotta be honest, that absolutely pissed me off when OP painted that mental image of syrup upside down all over your fridge. That must have been a nightmare. Outrageous Shirt says kick him out. He's still not feeling any real consequences for his actions. His girlfriend kicked him out because he's useless, so he expected another woman to take him in and clean up his mess, and you did. Even with all your new rules, he's still got a roof over his head and is still, very deliberately, I might add, being a pig. Not just in how he lives, but how he talks to you. Kick him out immediately. Icky Chew says your parents are real assholes. It's one thing to teach girls to cook and not boys, but putting cigarettes out on the floor inside the house, hiding chewing gum in your home is bizarre. Were you as a girl expected to scrub their backs in the shower and wipe their ass too? How did your brother not learn basic decency or home hygiene? It really sounds like he's terrorizing you. For holidays and birthdays, you should get your brother's books on how to maintain their home, clothes, hygiene, and so on. When he complains, invite him to leave and give your brother a get out date. Not the arsehole. OP says, you're not going to believe this, but one time I did 10,000% get grounded because my brother got cysts on his ass from not cleaning, and my mum said I needed to set a better example for him. That is 100% true and totally sounds like an insane lie. And the comments all were rightfully so. Kick his ass out. Do yourself a favor and just get him out. I want to come to you and drag his ass out now. He sounds like an absolute vile person. But in that same post, OP gave a little update first and said, I could not believe my eyes when I opened Reddit and saw the number of notifications. Wow. Just got to update everyone. Things came to a head today. I had to work the early shift and had a session with my table tonight at 6. I'm DMing a few D&D games. I begged my brother to keep the living room clean. I came home and the house was more than trashed. I mean, it looked like a bomb went off. Even dropped a cup of milk on the floor and left it. I flung the whole milk jug at his head and screamed at him to get the fuck out. He tried to bulk up to me and I lost it screaming get out over and over. And I guess he saw how unhinged I was because he stormed out. I cleaned up the milk, then jumped online to message everyone to cancel and saw the 700 plus notifications. You all gave some really solid advice and I knew reading the replies last night that this was over. I was going to give him a few weeks, but seeing that milk all across my new floor was the last straw. I don't know where he is going. I don't care. Thank you all. I love Reddit people. End of update. But not quite. So OP's second update says, hello everyone. I considered leaving the situation with my brother at the original post, but this post is blown up and is being covered outside of Reddit, so I figured I should tell you guys what has happened. At the start, I know a lot of people seemed incredibly perplexed. I even allowed this. To this, all I can reply is that I grew up in a very toxic environment. They are Mormons, and not the modern kind. When I was a kid, I was not allowed to wear pants. In my childhood, if you asked a man to clean, you'd be looked at like you were insane. And if you got mad at a man being messy, it would even be implied you could possibly be corrupted spiritually for attacking the original design. Obviously, after I left the church, I understood that things are different, but I'm not as healed as I thought. I obviously need a lot more therapy. I also got a few posts asking why I didn't include that I am autistic in my post. This is just because it is not relevant. The actual update. My brother is missing in action. For anyone who missed it the day after that post, I came home to a trashed house and a glass of milk spilt on the floor, and had obviously been there for a while. I lost it and lugged the milk jug at his head, thankfully missing, and screamed at him over and over to get out. He tried to square up to me, but I screamed so loud that it was hard to talk the next day. I think he got the hint and then took off. Almost ripped my door in two doing it. I had to replace a hinge. I know some people wanted me to sue him, but during this whole situation, I was confronted with a health scare. Just some weird looking moles, but I'm still worried. So I do not want to deal with that. He left, get this, and went to the house of his 19-year-old girlfriend. Apparently he met this girl when she went to the bar for her 18th. I had no idea what was going on, but all my brothers did. To recap, he had a baby with his girlfriend of 8 years this month. I told them all to fuck off. When mum messaged me crying because no one knows where your brother is, he just left with some girl, I told her I do not care. I did, call me crazy, message the girl to tell her here's the bad news, but she called me a crazy, see you next Tuesday, and blocked me. I also messaged the girl's mum, who seems worried, but basically she said she cannot do anything because her daughter is legal. I guess they took off and skipped town and will not tell anyone where they are. Outside of worry for this girl, I do not care. I'm too busy chilling with his ex and my wonderful niece. I'm going to take care of my health and focus on my life. And at some point later, OP comes in with what they title their final update, saying, to catch up, my brother is a pig and destroyed my home. This led me to figuring out my whole family kind of sucks. He ended up leaving with his barely legal girlfriend, leaving his newborn and ex whom he was cheating on. You can check my post history for context. Well, after all this, I've not talked to anyone in my family at all, but kept in contact with his ex and have been spending a lot of time with the baby. I've never liked his ex. She was with him for a reason. I think the only reason they lasted for years, instead of my brother's usually couple of weeks or months, before the girl runs screaming, is because she is, in a lot of ways, like him. Even knowing that I kept contact like a dummy because I felt so awful of the kid being left, I secretly think they are doomed because of their goofy parents. I know how horrible it is to think that. I wanted to be a positive force in the kid's life. Well, my brother found out that somehow that I've been around the kid and somehow got my new number, which totally perplexes me because no one in our family has it. He called me and cried that he does not want me around the kid because I will never do to his child what I did to him. This confused me because 1, when he left, he declared his ex must have cheated and the child was not his. They clearly are. So why is he saying his child? And 2, I've never done anything to him. I was made to be his mum, which is crazy because he is older, but never even given the authority to correct him. So I spent my life chasing after him, cleaning up all his mistakes while he tormented me and treated me so horribly. I ended up literally medically diagnosed with PTSD. I asked him what I did to him, and he said I always judged him, and even when he was a kid, I looked at him with judgment. I hung up on him right there because, lol, I judged him. No duh. I could fill books and books with all the bad choices he has made and all the horrible things he has done to others. From the time he could talk, it seemed like all he cared about was hurting others and offending others. And he has never been actually punished for anything. I was the only one who judged him. And after his actions, he rightfully should be in jail. If the worst thing he has suffered is judgment, I mean, lol, I've suffered way worse. Often at his hands or because of his choices. The cold truth is, if it wasn't for my judgment and care, he would have gone on OD'd about 1 billion times over. Or he would have called the wrong person a slur and found out the hard way. The only thing that kept him alive was me trailing after him, fixing mess after mess. He apparently talked to his ex and she has blocked me and told me that I will never be allowed to mess up their child like I messed up him. I do not need anyone to tell me she is appealing to my brother to try and win him back and that this is two deeply broken, messed up people blaming their shortcomings on me because it's easier than looking in the mirror. I know. Anyways, I felt something snap in me and it was like all my care, anxiety and worry drained out of my body. I do not care about this anymore or any of them. I changed my number again, limited my contact list even more. And when I can, I'm moving. I will not be providing any more updates on him or my family because I do not care about these people anymore and I do not plan to have contact again. Thank you for all the help. And all I can say after all that is good for OP for just being done with all this shit and moving on with your own life and just don't look back at them. Meet new people, do new hobbies, enjoy your life the way you want to. And when they do try to insert themselves back in your life, even if you change your number, they might try to find a way through social media or something. Just don't bite. Just ignore it. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from our very own subreddit, r/Mark Narrations. If you want to share your own story, please feel free to do so. Love to hear them. And this one's from Effective Philosophy 7 that says, Krampus, my neighbor. I, 47 female, and my 2 adult children moved into a multi-floored apartment in February 2023. We got a Karen-ass neighbor with the deal. The day we moved in, I met our downstairs neighbor. Well, the son of, we will call him Ken, and his dad Krampus. Krampus, the dad, is about 50-something. Ken, in his 20s, helped me move a 60-inch TV into our place. That way he had an opening to say that he hoped we were a lot better than the last people. I asked what he meant, and he said that they had tons of kids and never controlled them. I said nope, just us 3 grown-ups and maybe my other child and grandchild on the weekends. At first, everything was good, until my niece came over with a 3-day-old baby. They came knocking on my door, telling me to keep it down. Mind you, it was only 5 people in there. 3 adults, my grandchild 5, and the newborn. At night, I told my youngest about what happened, and he went to see what made them upset. When he got back, they said they would come to him if they had any more problems. They said they work 3rd shift, and we said cool, we work 2nd, so there shouldn't be any real issues. We all sleep in the day. A week passed, then all of a sudden there is banging at the door at 1 a.m. Mind you, we just got home, and they should have been at work. Turns out, Krampus called the police on us. Domestic disturbance. We let them in and explained everything. They apologized and left. We laughed and we went about our way. This became a monthly or sometimes twice a month thing for well over 2 years. If we would go to talk to them, they would ignore us and play dumb. The accusations were everything from sledgehammers to the floor, flipped furniture, domestic assault, and so on. I'm sure you get the picture. They've called every Thanksgiving and Christmas we've been there. They called so much that the police just come to the door and shoot the crap with us now. Don't worry, it isn't just us they harass either. They have a parking spot they pay for but won't use. That way if anyone uses it, they can call to have the car towed. I watched it firsthand to some people who just moved in that day. They aren't liked by anyone. About a year in, I decided to go to the office and they stopped for exactly 6 months, then started back up. Last month I had had enough and went to the police department and got a copy of all the calls. Well over 25 calls to the police with false claims of domestic violence. I then went back to my office and said stop him or we will. See, the last time the police officer told us we can do 2 things. 1, file a suit against him for harassment, defamation of character, and malicious prosecution. 2, hire an attorney and go after them, and the apartments for not doing anything about them. We have plenty of proof, and there's a good chance we will win. We just want some peace. That's why we went to our office. We don't want to move right now anyways. Hopefully they will leave us be. If anything else comes from it, I will update you all. Thanks for reading. So there was no further update on this, but OP did leave a comment below that one saying, so far Krampus hasn't bothered us anymore. I'm waiting for his next temper tantrum though. I will say upon closer look, we found a pattern to his calls to the police. What that means to us is, it coincides with the days my grandchild was here. Summer break, holidays and weekends were the most called. That tells me he hates having kids around. Lol. Don't live in the bottom apartment if you hate noise. The funny thing is, we have 2 large dogs and not once has he called about them. Go figure. So there's a couple of things I was thinking as I was reading this is, did he drive the last family out from that apartment? I mean, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen this kind of thing in like apartment type living. We've seen it time and time again where there's some cranky bastard who's just hitting the roof all the time. And another question, you said you went to the office and they stopped for exactly 6 months, then it started back up again. Was there something behind that, like complaints get dropped after 6 months so he knows the rules behind that in itself? Which seems even more sinister to me. Whichever way it is, I really do hope that you do go ahead and do one of those 2 options, because you shouldn't have to live like that just because there's some moody bastard below you. But I would really love to hear how that goes as well. So don't forget to give us an update if you feel comfortable in doing so. But what do you guys make of this situation? Have you ever lived in an apartment yourself and dealt with something like that? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes